Hello everyone, in this video I am going to show you how to bind the SSL certificate on the Citrix delivery controller. So before doing the SSL binding, we need to install the computer certificate on this server. Just go to MMC console, just request the computer certificate. So there is no computer certificate as of now, just request the certificate once. Okay, computer certificate has installed. Okay, now to get the this server identity number, we need to run this command in the PowerShell. Then get the certificate hash ID. Just copy this one. Certificate hash ID. Then Citrix delivery controller identity number. Just copy this one. Keep it here. App ID. Also, we need to use the delivery controller IP address here, and then port number. Just copy this command. Open CMD as a administrator. So SSL certificate has binded to the 443 port number. We need to do the same in the secondary delivery controller as well. Already I installed the certificate. So Citrix identity number is the same for both the server. Just copy this command. Only we need to get certificate hash ID. Just copy this one. Then change the IP address of this controller. This controller IP address is 26. Just copy this one. Okay, in secondary delivery controller also SSL certificate has binded with the 443 port number. Now just go to storefront. We have two storefront server. We are going to bind the SSL certificate in the storefront in the IAS. So for that, just open the IAS. We are not going to install the computer certificate here. We are going to create certificate for the load balancer, because for storefront we are going to use load balancer URL. So for that we need to create certificate for the load balancer. So for that, first we need to create host entry in the DNS. So create load balancer for that. This is unwanted entry. I'm removing it. Don't get confused. So our intention to create DNS record for the load balancer for storefront. So our storefront server name is CTX-SF1 and CTX-SF2. So our load balancer name is storefront. So just go to IAS server, create server certificate, create domain certificate. We need to keep the common name as storefront.citrixgsr.com. IT Chennai. We should not make any changes here. Select the certificate authority server to provide the certificate. Okay. This name should be matched with the DNS, the common name and these things. Okay. Okay. Now go to site, bind this certificate. Just add HTTPS, bind the certificate with this default site. Okay, now go to MMC, just export this certificate to import in the other storefront server. Just export this certificate. Just keep the password. It will ask you while importing the certificate in the other storefront server. Save it in the desktop. Just copy this certificate. Paste it in the other storefront server. Just open IAS console. Before that, just install the certificate. Local machine. Enter the password. Now go to MMC to see whether this installed certificate is visible or not. Okay. Now go to IAS, just bind the certificate to the default site. Click OK. Now go to primary storefront server, just replicate the changes once. So now the storefront.citrixgsr.com storefront URL will not work because it's don't have any load balancer. But if you use the individual URL of the storefront, it will work. So we'll create the load balancer. Before that, let me show you whether the storefront URL is working fine or not. It should not work. Let's see. Also, we need to change the base URL. Just change to HTTPS. And then one more thing, in the controller also we need to change it to HTTPS. Now propagate the changes. It's done. Now copy the URL. Just try to access it. Try with individual storefront URL. For individual storefront URL is loading. So load balancer URL is not working because we don't have any load balancer. We are going to create load balancer in the Netscaler. Just go to Netscaler. Just log into the Netscaler. So first we need to create a certificate in the Netscaler for the load balancer, like Netscaler based license. For that, just go to SSL files, create key for it to generate a certificate in the ADCS server. Algorithm. Keep the password for the key. Now create CSR record for that. Just map the key file. Enter the password for that key. Keep the subject name, common name, organization unit IT, city Chennai, country India. Just create. Just download the CSR record. Just copy the content. Go to ADCS server. We need to generate a certificate for the storefront load balancer. Request certificate, advanced certificate request. Just paste the content here. Just copy the content again. Web server, submit. Base DR. If it is Windows based server, we need to use change certificate. If it is a Netscaler based certificate, we need to use first option. Just rename the certificate name. Just copy this one. Just paste it in the desktop. Now go to okay. Now what we can do, we can create the load balancer. First add the server. We have two storefront server, right? SF1 SF1 IP address is 192.168.100.31.27. Create one more storefront, 228. Create. Now create service group, FFSG protocol SSL. Click OK. Now map the members to the service group. Port number 443. Click OK. So monitor, you just keep on monitor for TCP. Done. Now service group has created. Now you can create load balancer virtual server. So SFLB server protocol SSL. This IP address is 40 ending with 40 because we created DNS record for the storefront.citrixgsr.com, right? That IP we need to mention here. Now click OK. Load balancing service group we need to bind here. Continue. Then server certificate we created, right? So install. We kept it under local. So for this key file in the appliance storefront key, the password is 12345. Keep the certificate name storefront LB. Install. Now certificate is installed. We need to install one more certificate, CS certificate. Just go back, download CS certificate. So this is a CS certificate. Just copy this one, keep it in the desktop. Now we need to install CS certificate. Okay, install. Just link the certificate. Okay, fine. Click continue. The persistent method, use source IP. Okay, now go to SSL certificate. Just link this certificate with the CS server. So certificate is linked. Click save. Okay, now go to storefront. Now this load balancer URL is loading fine. Before it was not working because we don't have load balancer in the Netscaler. We don't have any application published to the user, but just try to log in. Okay, nothing. Citrix Netscaler gateway for the Citrix infrastructure. For that, we need to create one DNS record for the gateway. First, we'll create it. So, create host entry for the gateway. Gateway IP address 192.168.90. Okay, now go to Netscaler. We need to create a certificate. Create RSA key. gateway.citrixgsr.com key algorithm, password for the key, create CSR record, password for that key, IT City Chennai, create. Okay, just download the certificate, sorry, CSR record, copy the content, just go to the CS server, create the certificate, advance, copy the, paste the content, web server, submit, download, rename to gateway. Just copy the certificate, keep it in the desktop, just go to the Netscaler, get started, storefront, continue, mention the gateway FQDN, gateway IP address 192.168.90, gateway, continue, install the certificate, gateway, key file, password, continue, retrieve the store here. This is our storefront load balancer URL. We have only one store. If you have multiple store, it will list out here. You need to select the respective store. Now we have only one store. So our active directory name is citrixgsr.com. Enter our delivery controller address here, CTX. We have two controller. Make it 2, test connectivity. Okay, continue. So mention the domain IP address, domain controller, DDC, yes, DDC, com, service account, create LDAP test connection, successful, click continue, done. So now gateway is created. I want to change the theme for the gateway. Green bubble. Okay, now it's done. Just go to storefront. Okay, we need to add the gateway here. Manage gateway. Our STS server delivery controller. click next. Nothing. Let's go with. So now gateway added. Just go to select the store and configure remote setting. Enable remote access. Gateway. Click OK. Okay, done. Now replicate the changes. Just go to studio and create one machine catalog and publish some applications. So already installed the VDA agent, this one of the delivery controller. So just use it for the testing now. Give access to domain user. Just publish one desktop. Now go to storefront server. First check with the storefront load balancer URL. Okay, we can see the server 2019 desktop. Then use gateway URL. Okay, gateway URL also working fine. So in this video we have covered SSL certificate binding in the delivery controller and storefront, and creating the load balancer for the storefront, and then we created one gateway for the Citrix environment. This is for testing purpose. For in real time we need to purchase the public IP address for the gateway, and then we need to get the certificate from the any third party vendor for the public access through the internet. In next video, I will show you how to upgrade the Citrix environment from 1912 to 2203. Thank you.